two of the most decorated offices in this department. What do you see?
Looks like a rubber gone wrong to me.
This wasn't a robbery, this was a hit.
What the?
Someone out there is killing puppets.
Hey, handsome.
You looking for some rotten cotton?
I'm a woman. That's okay.
Yeah, that's even better.
Got a good time for you.
We're gonna catch the bastards who did these murders. Because bodies are gonna start piling up.
You're one of the best damn cops I've ever seen.
I'll have your badge for this. I'm in the fucking FBI.
Oh yeah, what's that stand for? Fucking big idiot?
Hey everybody, welcome to What the Flick. Christy, Matt, Alonso. Did we mention that it's late August?
Oh my God.
Because it's late August, and the Happy Time Murders have opened.
Yeah. Whatever you just saw in that clip, that's it. That's like the entire movie. It's naughty puppets. It's puppets having sex and puppets doing drugs and puppets cursing and puppets chain smoking. And as an idea, I guess that sounds a little subversive, and maybe it would have been novel if things like Avenue Q and Team America didn't
Meet the Feebles.
Right, if these things didn't already exist. It's a one joke movie. It is that one joke, and then they hammer that joke and they scream it from the rooftops, and it's never funny. Just because they keep doing it, it does not get funnier with each telling of it. There is exactly one sight gag that made me laugh out loud. There is one. I'm not gonna spoil it for you because I want you to have it too. I want you to have the joy of that moment because there aren't very many of them. Yeah, this is a great cast of actual human beings. Melissa McCarthy is the detective, and Maya Rudolph is the assistant to the hard-boiled private investigator who is a disgraced former detective, and Elizabeth Banks is a stripper with a heart of gold. And these are people who, again and again, are willing to go to daring places, and I can see why this idea might have appealed to them. And it never is anything more than just the absolute simplest of concepts. And it's also a film noir. It's like a puppet film noir. And I feel like we've seen what they're going for here much better with Who Framed Roger Rabbit, for example, in the combination of like humans and some kind of other entity. Here it's puppets instead of cartoon characters, but it's still trying to be like this allegory about racism or discrimination or
which
whatever.
I was reminded Alien Nation handles much better.
Have we all forgotten Bright already?
Oh yeah, Bright was bad.
This reminded me of Bright, and that's never a good thing.
Right, the original Alien Nation with James Conn Mann-Patinkin handles the idea of the other cop much better than this does. And yeah, that's a real movie. This one, this movie's a mess, and it's there's outtakes in the credits where you get to see the puppeteers, and they're clearly having a good time. Good for them. Glad they had a good time. I can only imagine that this comes out of a lot of these folks who have been doing this, like, oh, wouldn't it be funny if these puppets were having sex? Ha ha ha. Well, again, this is not new for a lot of us. We've seen this stuff. Like, there's nothing that shocking here anymore, and it's just kind of lame. Like, it's not that funny. Like, there's maybe one or two like mildly amusing bits in it, but for the most part, I don't really care.
Yeah, like there's nothing wrong with the idea of a hard R puppet movie, but that's just the idea. Like, you then have to tell the jokes and make the world and do all the stuff. And this movie's really lazy about that. Like, I was just reading Richard Lawson's review in Vanity Fair, and he was like, what are these puppets exactly? Like, what are the rules?
That's a good point.
We know they die when they get torn apart, but they have livers because we later find out that Melissa McCarthy's character has one.
A puppet liver.
A puppet liver. Right.
That's a good point.
They never establish this stuff, which you would ignore if the movie were funny, but when it's not, you have all this time to sit there and think about it.
And there's a hint with like the dancing panhandling one early on, like, oh, you don't have to do that anymore. Like, there's some.
Yeah, there was that too. What was the past?
Okay, what was that past? And look, there could have been.
Who creates puppets? Are they born? Are they stitched? Like, we don't even know.
That's a good point too, right? And at one point, one of them is getting beaten up, and he's like, it's like you're hitting a pillow, right? They say, I can't feel it at all. But then there are other moments in which there is physical suffering amid the puppets. Like there's one that has a really serious drug problem, and you see him in his drug den, and he has like serious deterioration. So they're capable of evolving somehow, even though they're made of stuffing. I don't know.
All of which to say is this movie is crap.
We shouldn't be thinking about these things, right?
I mean, I laughed maybe a few more times than y'all did, just because. Well, for example, there's a scene where Melissa McCarthy and Maya Rudolph break into a suspect's apartment, and there's no puppets in it, and it's just the two of them, and they're funny, and they get to be funny for a magical moment of actual funny people getting to be funny without the whole puppets being naughty shtick, and those outtakes over the closing credits, I did admire the actual puppeteering involved, because you had guys wearing like basically green screen suits who were later digitally erased, who are like manipulating these
they're
puppets.
Like behind them, so you don't see them, but
yeah,
they're
doing all this stuff, and like I've got two of them right behind me now. So I mean, there's a craft here. Brian Henson directed it, obviously, and he's
Son of Jim.
Son of Jim.
There's puppet craft here. There's no writing craft.
No. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah. But sadly, the script is just they really thought that this was enough. Like puppets ejaculating and puppets snorting coke, or puppets fill in the blank. Like that's enough, and it's like no, there needs to be an actual joke.
How can the one puppet be in a hot tub? That bothered me too. Like, how does that
Puppets
not
get
ruin
wet
it?
all the time.
But like from here down, like how is he not like gooey and gushy, right? Like from here up, you see him, he's dry.
Wouldn't he be like super bloated with like the
or like heavy? Like wouldn't he get drawn down to the bottom of the hot tub because the bottom of him is now heavier? Things like this, these occupy my mind as well. I was distracted by that.
And again, nobody would be thinking about this if we had been entertained by the Happy Time Murders.
Yeah, I was telling Matt last night, walking out of this thing, like yes, it tries to be super shocking and raunchy, but then it also tries to have these like serious, dramatic, like hard-boiled film noir moments of like remorse and regret and the possibility of redemption, and it shifts gears between those two thematic ideas with such a jarring way that like it just yanked you out of it and never actually worked.
There is also a subplot going on that goes in a direction that I don't think anybody associated with this movie really thought through.
Can you talk about it without spoiling
Let me put it this way. You know how we're supposed to cheer at the end of Die Hard when, Reginald L. Johnson's character is suddenly capable of shooting people again? It's like that, but more so, and really, again, no one thought about this.
Yeah. Oh, and there's a puppet Basic Instinct joke that they go to like 3 times. It's the same.
But at least they do
joke.
make that relevant to the plot.
It is. Yeah, it's not irrelevant. It's not just like for shock's sake. Anyway, I am down for raunchy, inappropriate stuff ordinarily. Like nothing shocks me. I'm not offended by this. It was just extremely boring.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was boring. There's 1 or 2 fun bits, like the kids in Lancaster. That was mildly amusing, but for the most part, it's kind of just a waste of potential and time.
And a waste of talent. I mean, like Brian Henson, this is clearly his milieu, who's born into it, but he's done what? Muppet, Christmas Carol.
And Treasure Island.
And he did Sid the Science Kid, which is a really sweet show, which my kid used to watch. But yeah, so he's got all the puppet cred, and I guess as you say, like they just wanted to have a good time and use all the naughty thoughts that had occurred to them all those years, but then they had to go and make a movie about it. Oh, there's also a Ben Falcone cameo. That's not a spoiler. It's a Melissa McCarthy movie, and that's supposed to be like a recognition moment, and that's not funny either.
Not really.
My number is a 2.5, and that's only because of, as we learned during the credits, the puppet craft on display here. Like I actually would enjoy watching that movie, the movie about
the making of.
The making of. I'd rather watch that than what the final product was.
I'm a little bit higher than you, 3.5. It gets a point because it's short.
It's only like 80
mercifully short.
Yes, I gave it a 4.5 just because like there were a couple of solid laughs, like I said, especially when the puppets aren't on screen, and I admired the craft behind it. But don't. I know people saw the trailer like, oh my god, I can't wait. Like, just trust us. Don't.
Yeah, please don't.
Just
so 3.5 is our number.
catch it on cable or whatever.
Or don't. It's 29% on the tomato meter. So yeah, avoid. Bye.
Never miss another What the Flick video. All you have to do is ring the bell below. That little bell. I heard you were afraid to ring the bell. I dare you to ring the bell. Anyway, if you ring the bell, you'll get notified whenever we publish something new. And don't forget, you can join TYT and download the TYT Plus app today. Download our TYT Plus app on your phone or head over to tyt.com/join.